Hello everyone, Combo here, and I want to do a video here to help people set up the add-on called TellMeWhen because it's a really cool add-on and it helps my DPS a lot when I set it up. So if you're, raiding and you feel like your DPS isn't high enough, this is a pretty good add-on to help you with that. Basically, what it does is you go in and you have to do a little bit of setup, but once you have it set up, it will display these icons on your screen while you're in combat, and you can set it up to basically tell you what your rotation is so that you're doing it properly while you're in combat and still let you focus on the mechanics of the fight. So just briefly, I'm going to show you what it looks like when you're actually in combat. You can see the icons pop up. The way I have mine set up is top to bottom, left to right priority. So I'm always going to use whatever icon comes up in the top row, and then go from left to right. Alright, so that's what it looks like when you're actually in combat. So let me get out of combat here, and once I'm out of combat, oh, my dumb gargoyle is still attacking it. Alright, there we go. Alright, so the way it works is each one of these little icons, if you right click on the add-on, it gives you a menu and you can go in and you set up all this stuff, but it's going to be kind of complicated to talk about it for my unholy rotation, which is already set up. So what I'm going to do is set it up for a two-handed frost rotation, because I don't have one set up yet because I don't play two-handed frost. Let's see. Let's go frost. And pardon me, 1 second, I have to take the abilities and make sure they're on my action bar. Let's see. I think that's everything. Oh, I need Pillar of Frost. Okay, I think that's everything. Alright, so when you... Oh, it looks like I did have one set up for Frost. Okay, well it's probably not very good. So, I'm just going to go in here and delete this stuff. Delete this group. Delete that one. Delete this group. This was probably set up for PvP anyway. Delete. And we'll keep... Yeah, this was definitely set up for PvP. Alright, so I'm going to make a new group. You want to set up icon. First thing you want to do is click it so that it only shows in combat. That way it won't clutter up your screen when you're just running around. You can set it to only display certain roles. So I'll just set it for damage, and you can set it up for talent trees, and I'll do frost. And when you're in the configuration mode, which you get to by typing /TMW, you can move all the stuff around however you want. I like to keep mine in the middle of the screen so that I don't have to look away from what's happening to get information. So I've got the basic unholy or frost rotation here in front of me, so I don't have to tab out a lot. But basically, what you want to do is the rotations on the website Icy Veins are usually pretty good. There's a couple of specs where they I don't think they're as good as they could be, but for the most part, and for the purpose of this video, I would recommend just checking the rotation on Icy Veins. So when you have an empty square here, most of the time you're going to do spell cooldown. That's for it'll show the icon if the spell is off cooldown. So for me, let's see, we want to do you type in the name of the spell here, and I want to do Plague Leech, and it'll usually show up on the right side there. And conditions, I'm going to resources runes, and I'm going to have it show Plague Leech if I don't have a rune pair available. So what the way this works here is obviously this isn't going to help if you're not a Death Knight, but they have resources for every class. Like you can see mana, they have percent and absolute. So for example, like if you're a warrior and you want to do Mortal Strike, you would do absolute rage greater than like 30, because I think that's how much you need. So I'm setting this up to show me that I can use Plague Leech if I have one set of runes completely empty, which means it'll take my diseases off the target and refresh a fully depleted rune. So we're going to put that as top priority. After that is going to be Soul Reaper, which is the Death Knight Execute. And execute type moves are called reactive abilities. So Kill Shot, Execute, stuff like that is going to be called reactive ability. So I'm going to put Soul Reaper. And there's an option here on the side under Timer Sweep. If you select Show Timer and allow global cooldown, it'll do the standard like sweep across the item for your global cooldown. After that, say we want Defile. After that, we want to do Howling Blast with proc up. And you have little options here, like you can show it if they're in range. So it's you know, if you're melee, the icon will go away if you're not in range or whatever. If you're trying to track buffs for a specific ability like this one, you go to conditions, you choose buff duration, make sure it's set to player. I'm going to say greater than 0 seconds, and I think it's called freezing fog. It's been a while since I played Frost, but I think that's what it's called. So this icon now should show me Howling Blast when I have the freezing fog buff, which I get after using Obliterate. In the main options, if you click any icon in a group and go to main options, you can name the group. So I'm going to name this Two-Handed Frost PvE DPS Rotation. And you can change the number of columns and rows and stuff. I usually, if I want to do more than one row, I just make a separate group, because usually I group abilities up based on, you know, like I'll have like the rotation be one, you know, row, and then another row would be like defensive cooldowns. So I'm going to change the number of columns to 10 temporarily, and then I'll scale it back down after I'm done. So after that, we want obliterate, range check, show timer, global cooldown, and this one's going to be if I have the killing machine buff. Make sure it's greater than 0. I don't think you need to do anything with the runes. After that, we're going to do outbreak, which throws up diseases. This one, since we only want to use outbreak if we don't have our diseases up, you can set it to track debuffs on the target. So we're going to do debuff, change the unit to target, and we'll say less than or equal to like 1 second, which is about a global cooldown. So the 2 diseases we're looking for are frost fever, and this little red box next to it will make sure that it only checks your debuffs and not other people in your raids. So we'll say frost fever and blood plague. Come on, there we go. For this one, I'm going to do a or. Since it throws up both diseases, I'll just say if either one of them is about to fall off and the ability is available, it'll show the icon. After that, we've got Plague Strike and Howling Blast. This is just, this probably won't come up very much. It's only for if, as a DK, your diseases fall off and you don't have Outbreak available, which doesn't happen too much. Target is equal to 1. Now there's another thing you can do. So in this case, as a DK, I don't want to use Plague Strike if I have Outbreak available, so I don't want it to even show up. So what you can do is add another condition, spell cooldown. Select Outbreak as the spell, and you can change this to be greater than, we'll say, like 2 seconds. So now this will tell me to use Plague Strike if the disease has 1 second or less. Change that to less than or 1 second. And Outbreak is more than 2 seconds away from cooling down. And then if you right click on an icon and drag it, you have options like move, copy, swap. So I'm going to copy it, and then I'll just come over here and change this to Howling Blast. Change the condition to look for the other disease, and then we don't have to change the rest of it because it's the same. After that, we have Frost Strike. Range check. And this one is if you have runic power and you're close to capping. So we're going to say absolute runic power if it's greater or equal than, greater to or equal than 75. And then after that, just obliterate with no special conditions. And we need one more column. And this one will be Frostbite. With the condition that we have more than 25 runic power. So absolute runic power. And we don't want to use it if we have the killing machine prog. So we're going to do buff equals 0, which means it's absent. Alright, so this is the basic rotation. It might seem like a lot, but you're not going to have all this stuff showing up at the same time while you're in combat thanks to the conditions that we set. And if you wanted to, you could make this two rows with 6 columns each, so it'll condense it, look like that. In fact, we are going to do that, and we're going to move everything here down by 1 because I need to put my cooldown ability, which is Pillar of Frost. So we're going to do that so it doesn't take up as much space on the screen. Now there's all sorts of other stuff you can do with this add-on other than just checking to keep track of your DPS rotation. For example, if I right click this icon and drag it over here, you have the option to split into a new group, which keeps all of the options the same. And then I'll just move it back, and then in this empty one, you can track the cooldown of items. So I'm going to track my DPS potion for rating, and select, I can show it if it's only in my bags, and since I want to line that up with my DPS cooldown, I can tell it to only show it if my Pillar of Frost is off cooldown. So I can just put that up here, it'll remind me to use it. In fact, I'll have it show if Pillar of Frost is off cooldown, or if I have the Pillar of Frost buff, in case I use the buff before I hit the potion. I don't want the icon going away. So we'll say Pillar of Frost buff greater than or equal to, how long does this last? 25 seconds. So we'll say greater than or equal to like 15 seconds, which is all the way to the end. There we go. You can also, for example, I like to make an icon to remind me to use my health stone and stuff, because I'll forget to use it. And I think I already have that here somewhere. I don't know what I just did there. Undo that. Anyway, so if I want to make a group to show me to use my health stone, come over here, item cooldown, health stone, only if in bags. I like to show it if my health drops below like 50%. You can change it to whatever you want. The reason I do 50 is because I have another move that gives me back 50% life. If you get like a little red question mark here, that means that it hasn't seen the item yet, so it doesn't know what icon to use. In order to get rid of that, you can add a custom texture. So if we type in Hellstone, it should change the texture to a Hellstone. This is also useful if you have ability icons that kind of look similar and you want one to be different. So we'll do that, and we'll add another column for my Death Knight heal, which is called Death Pact. So spell cooldown, Death Pact, health less than or equal to 50%, and we're going to swap places because I want to use Death Pact instead of a Hellstone if I can, and we'll say to only use this if my Death Pact is on cooldown. So if there's 3 seconds or more on the death pack cooldown, it'll show my health stone if I can use it. And then I also like to do a smaller group that is defensive abilities, because again I'll forget to use them in combat if I don't have an icon showing it. So we got anti-magic shell, icebound fortitude, and I would definitely recommend this for anybody using this, even as a tank, because it's nice to see all of the options you have available to you at any given moment in the raid. Let's see what else we have. Anti-magic zone, which I use that a lot. And you can also put racial abilities on here. So I'll put my goblin rocket jump. I think that's what it's called. What the hell is it called? Oh, it's just rocket jump. And you can change the size of the icons and move them around. I like to have mine, like I said, in the middle of the screen so I don't have to look anywhere else to see it. So that's the general setup. Now, this isn't the only way you can set it up. This is just the way I like to set it up. A buddy of mine has it set up to where it shows his entire rotation in just one icon. And I think that's called meta icon, which is this one all the way at the bottom. I don't know how to set it up because I don't like it. I used it one time a couple of years ago, and I prefer it this way just because I like seeing everything I have available to me, and still feels like I'm choosing what move to use instead of the game completely telling me what to do. Now there's another add-on that works pretty well with TellMeWhen. It's called Need to Know, and it's just a very basic tracker. You can use it to track dots on a target, or buffs on yourself, or the cooldown of your damaging abilities. So for example, if I wanted to add another one here, let's see, let's add a 6th group. Let's say I want to track the cooldown of my Pillar of Frost so that I know when to start like to save runes up. So we'll say that this is a spell cooldown. It's really easy to set up. It shouldn't really require any explanation. So we've got everything set up in the rotation. So let's just go and make sure it works. Alright, there's Pillar of Frost. Ooh, why is my Soul Reaper showing? That's not good. I must not have set that up right. So wait until get out of combat here. We didn't set the condition for the target's health to be low enough. So you go to resources, percent health, change to target for like execute type abilities. And I'm going to do less than or equal to 36% because Soul Reaper has a short duration before it actually goes off. So that should work now. Alright, so and oh, I didn't set up Plague Leech properly, but I'll go back and do that later because I have to actually have diseases up on the target in order to do that. But so you can see it looks like it's working for the most part. If you're new to using it, you will make mistakes, but trust me, if you set everything up right, it will show you how to do your stuff properly. But spend a good 15-20 minutes fiddling with it, and if you learn how to use it, I am very certain that you will see a DPS increase, because people aren't perfect and you'll forget to do stuff while you're busy dodging fire or whatever. So that's that. The other nice thing about this add-on I should mention real quick before I end the video is you can actually copy other people's settings. If you go into the options, there is a import export function, and you can import other people's profiles, which like when I was helping a buddy of mine set his up for his paladin, I was able to export my paladin's profile to Pasteman and give him the link, and he was able to just import it, and it set everything up for him like this already. So if you know someone else that uses it, you can ask them to copy their stuff for you. And that's it. It's a really good add-on. Thanks for watching.